Rochester nonprofit Catholic Charities has had to shut down its refugee resettlement program and other related services over changes to the federal immigration policy.
Natalie Kutchko joins us now after hearing from one of the program's directors on how this impacts the community. Natalie.
Adam and Teresa, we have learned about 800 refugees that would have relocated here to Rochester through Catholic Charities. The nonprofit are no longer able to do that. Their futures here now unclear as the agency is losing capacity to resettle the population over that federal freeze happening right now. Catholic Charities in Rochester is making changes following the federal freeze in January, which halted refugee resettlement and immigration programs. Immediately after, the nonprofit chose to raise funds and underwrite costs for existing clients. In April, their contractor agency ended their relationship with the Federal Office of Refugee Resettlement, leaving the organization no choice but to cut the primary program and other specialized services for refugee families.
The major change is to our refugee resettlement program. Before the freeze and last year in 2024, we welcomed 1,100 refugees in our community through Catholic Charities. So we're unfortunately no longer able to do that because of the federal pause on refugee resettlement. What that means for us is that we're losing that capacity to resettle refugees. We have lost staff as well in this process. We've had to reduce staff, do a few layoffs, although we've been very successful with moving many of our people into other positions in the department or the agency.
Jim Morris helps to oversee these programs for Catholic Charities and says they are working with families on next steps amidst the uncertainty.
What's very important to us is that we maintain our capacity to help refugees that are already here. And we're doing that through programs like our refugee employment program, where we are placing hundreds of refugees to work in our community every year. These closures are not of our own design or our own desire. We have lost contracts. We have had funds frozen. So if it was up to us, of course, we would keep these programs open.
He adds these changes at the federal level were seen in President Trump's first term, but says the results were not as severe.
This time around, there's been a complete halt to refugee resettlement. There was a promised review of the program from the administration 90 days after that halt. We have not seen such a report. We're not sure that report exists. But that report was supposed to describe the conditions under which refugee resettlement would continue. And we still do not understand if that is going to happen.
So with all of this, Morris says Catholic Charities does remain, of course, committed to ensuring their clients are still able to take part in other immigration-related services that they offer. And should the federal administration decide to restart the admission of refugees into the U.S., he says the nonprofit will stand ready to resume that work. We will have their full statement on our website, rochesterfirst.com. Reporting in studio, Natalie Kutchko, News 8.